Hello and welcome to Scott Bryson Beyond the Surface. I hope you're doing well tonight. We did some storytelling the other night, fun and lighthearted, but tonight I want to get into a topic that's a little bit more serious. We're not gonna, get out the Kleenex or anything, but we do have something that I've been weighing on my heart a little bit. I want to talk about. I call it guarding the guardians. People are protectors. Not everybody is, and that's okay. There's basically three types of people in this world. There's sheep, there's wolves, and there's sheepdog. Not everybody's a sheepdog, and that's okay. Not everybody's a wolf, and that's really good. So the people that are sheepdogs are the protectors, and you don't have to be in law enforcement or a first responder or military person to be a sheepdog. Of course not. You could just be a regular run of the mill person that knows how to take care of yourself and your family, and that's perfectly fine, and that's the way it should be. I think that we rely too heavily on assistance from the government and other places most of the time, and we should be self-reliant. But what I wanted to talk about tonight is the guardians, those that do the protecting, the police officers, the law enforcement, the sheriff's officers, the first responders, the military folks. Now, the military folks, I love the military folks, and I regret not being in the military. They go and do a career and come back, and a lot of them have PTSD from going overseas and getting into wars, battles, blown up, shot up, the whole thing. That's horrible. That's the analogy of like a big punch to the face, right? It's just like wham, it's happening right now. Law enforcement, on the other hand, doesn't necessarily get into all that stuff. Maybe go your whole career and never have to do that. I've been in some hairy situations, but I've never had to shoot anybody. I've never been shot at. I've been in some real trick bags, but it's the death by a thousand paper cuts is what I like to say, because you're generally speaking, you're in a patrol car by yourself. Now, depending on the city, if it's really bad, they may have partners, but the only time you're really ever with another person is when you're in your FTO phase, right? Your field training officer phase. So there's two of you, but generally you're by yourself because you don't have the manpower. And you're answering call after call after call alone for 25, 30 years. Now, not everybody does a full career. Not everybody does a full career in the military. Some guys do 4 years or 6 years. Some guys do 20 or whatever. Not every cop does 20 or 25 or 30 years. Some have only done a handful. That's okay too. They go on to do other things, but they still have trauma from those years of service. But especially, the people that are in it to win it from the beginning to the end to retirement, right? So 25, 30 years. Most law enforcement is about 30 years. It's too long. I think all law enforcement should be 20. Federal government's 25, locals 30. It's too long. But nevertheless, hopefully they'll get that squared away someday and change it down to 25 at least. But you do a certain job like that for a long, long time, you're going to see a lot of stuff. And even on the federal level, you might not do the daily grind that the police officer does, but if you're an investigator, you're going to see bad things. Secret Service and FBI, not as much because it's white collar crime, but you can still get into some weird stuff there too. But like the DEA is a lot of, drugs and guns and there's violence there, and the ATF and all that stuff. The Secret Service actually has a really good forensics section and internet threats, internet crimes against children. It's called ICAC, and it's basically child pornography investigations. I've seen some things I wish I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen a lot of it, but I've seen a couple things, and it's hard to get out of your head because some things you just can't unsee, And it takes a special person to do that job. So if anybody's out there watching this tonight and you do that for a living, God bless you. You're a saint, and I think there'll be a special place for you in heaven. That's just hard stuff to see. Seeing dead bodies and things like that never really bothered me too much. If it was just kind of the run of the mill, whatever, suicide or homicide or whatever. I think the thing that really kind of always weighed heavy on me though was like seeing dead victims in like car accidents because they're just minding their own business, going to dinner or a movie or whatever, and get killed in a car accident. That always, I don't know, that just really always bothered me because they were kind of just minding their own business, Not that the people that get murdered aren't sometimes just minding their own business, but unfortunately, I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but a lot of these people are running in the wrong circles. And so, you got to be in the right place. Sometimes we put ourselves in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that doesn't justify it by any means. But, a lot of these suicides and homicides, for whatever reason, that just didn't really I don't think it bothered me. It might have, like subconsciously, maybe it does. I don't know. But I think the point I'm trying to make is not everybody sees a bunch of dead bodies, and I haven't seen a ton. I mean, I haven't seen like I wasn't a homicide detective. I didn't see body upon body. I wasn't in war seeing a bunch of dead bodies. I mean, the thing is, as a police officer, you're exposed, law enforcement officer, you're exposed to many, many things. It could be homicides, it could be rapes, it could be child trafficking, it could be child hoarding type situations at home, where like filth, people living in filth, incest, and all kinds of stuff. I mean, if you can think it, it's there. And what we need to do, I think, is why I started this podcast, and what I'm hoping to get to is I want to help my brothers and sisters that wear the uniform, blue or brown, whatever, sheriffs and police, because there's not a lot. There's chaplains usually in each department or whatever, but I don't think we have a lot of resources outside of the departments to help people. So just if you're a person of faith, maybe just remember the people that protect you when you're sleeping in your bed at night. There's somebody out there on the street keeping the community safe. Maybe say a prayer for them, and maybe help me come up with some ideas. If you guys want to message me at scottbrysonbiz@gmail.com, we'd love to hear your ideas. Trying to come up with some ideas to maybe do some philanthropic work, try to get something off the ground. I don't know if we're going to do a nonprofit or what we're going to do. I don't know where this is going to head. I just don't know where we're headed with this thing, but I know that our heart's in the right place. We want to help people. And I just wanted to jump on here for a few minutes tonight and just say, just thank a law enforcement officer the next time you see him, or a first responder, fireman, whoever. Everybody loves firemen, by the way. So those guys get plenty of love. No, I'm just kidding. But thank a cop the next time you see one, because they do a very hard job and get compensated a lot better now than they used to. So that's good. But they should, just like teachers. Teachers should get paid more too. These frontline workers, for some reason, don't get the respect and the benefits of the private world for some reason. But it's kind of backwards, I think. But anyway, I just wanted to jump on here for a few minutes tonight and just say, we got to guard our guardians. We got to guard their hearts, because they're just people too. A lot of people think that they're just a robot in a uniform. They have families, they have feelings. They make mistakes, and it's easy to armchair quarterback and kind of crucify them when they make a mistake. But it's like you have to make a split-second decision a lot of times when it comes to use of force, and it's easy to armchair quarterback after that. But until you've walked a mile in a law enforcement officer's shoes, I would ask you to please just slow your roll a little bit, not be so judgmental, and just realize that there are people out there that are hurting and that need help. So we've got to come up with a way to do that. And I think one of the best ways to do that, obviously, would be, if you're watching this and you're a law enforcement person, you need to get plugged in. Like, you need to go to church. If you're not a church goer, you need to get plugged in to some type of small group or some type of community outside of the first responder, because it just kind of becomes I don't want to say a cancer, but it just becomes this merry-go-round that you can't get off of. Like, it's constant drama, right? And you got to get out of that, and you need to have friends outside of the circle of what you do for work.